Where them people here wear them mask them fine? Well, now so you self wear your mask. Cover your nose and you mouth all time where you dey near other person.
Well, make sure you continue to adhere to the coronavirus preventive message. And for our first story this afternoon, local authorities of Umende Chiefdom, Karuna District have called on their fellow compatriots to dissociate themselves from any form of violence and be united for the development of their chiefdom. As Joseph Ture reports, issues of violence have been recently reported in the district.
This is Feredugu town, Umende Chiefdom, Karuna District. It is one of the chiefdoms that were created following the de-amalgamation in 2017. The chiefdom has 11 ruling houses, from which 12 candidates contested the recent paramount chieftaincy election that was conducted in that part of the country. But unhealthy rivalry, including hate speech among supporters of various ruling houses following the conduct of chieftaincy election, was the reason why local authorities summoned this gathering at the Chiefdom Court Barre.
They need to take immediate action. Talk to the leaders and the government and withdraw the two people together because they are brothers. All of us, we are brothers. If Mahmoud Fonti win, we are going to throw our support. Him alone cannot develop this chiefdom. I'm telling you. If Jibril Ekanu is the winner now, him alone cannot develop this chiefdom. Except we all come together, we help him to develop the chiefdom. So I don't see no fight inside this chiefdom. We are all the same father and the same mother. You see, we are fighting for one staff. And the one staff we are fighting, not two people will get the staff. It's only one person we're able to get the staff. So I will talk to my brother so that to give up and support his own brother, let him continue with his chieftaincy.
Most of the former aspirants for the seat of power, town and section chiefs, condemned the issue of violence. They unanimously stated the need for peace and solidarity in the chiefdom.
We need to respect our elders. They are the chiefdom stakeholders. If they are our chiefdom stakeholders, then we embark on violence against them. It will not help us.
With the current court injunction restricting the paramount chief-elect PC by Fonti II from performing his duties, it was hopeful by many local authorities that unity and solidarity will exist among citizens of Umende Chiefdom.
So I believe my brother Mahmoud is not anxious for the power. I believe that it's people that pushing him. So if we will talk to Mahmoud, Mahmoud will listen to us and concentrate, and help our brother, so we will push this chiefdom forward. Because Mahmoud, the country he came is the most peaceful country. I know the man is so peaceful. So I don't see the reason if Mahmoud is going to refuse.
With such engagement by local authorities to unite the chiefdom, it is hopeful that the outcome of the petition matter in court would be received by residents of the chiefdom in good faith. SLBC, Joseph Ture reporting.
As a result of the spike in the cases of COVID-19, especially in the capital city, Freetown, NACOVAC announced measures to curtail the spread of the second wave of COVID-19 in the country. According to NACOVAC, the announcement starts on Monday for a period of 2 weeks, subject to review. Among the new measures are nighttime curfew from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., mandatory wearing of face masks, and restricted movement in and out of the Western area. The Deputy Head of Police Media Unit, ASP Samuel Santos, spoke more to us on the role of the police during the 2-week restrictions.
During this partial lockdown, there will be community testing. So please, again, that one, the security forces will be monitoring the exercise, and of course, we'll be mounting checkpoints, and also we have what we refer to as covert surveillance. For the security sector, we are giving support to all technical pillars. Whatever the case may be, the security sector, we are giving support. So each and every pillar needs the security sector in terms of implementation and enforcement. Night curfew, that brings me to that one. Of course, it has been introduced again, 10 p.m. So people who are in the habit to say that I will leave my business place or I will start packing 9:30, 30 minutes will not suffice for you. In the interest of protecting yourself and also get what we refer to as intrinsic peace, please make sure that 10 o'clock is not 10:30 or 11 o'clock. When we say 10 p.m. it's 10 p.m.
What will be the outcome for those who defy, who will be outside after 10?
They will face, of course, the full penalty of their negligence or their action. Trust me, that's why I said all the heads of the various key institutions briefed their personnel as to the significance of this partial lockdown. So for us, we are going to take it very seriously. We are going to do all what it takes. And of course, the use of checker phones will be applied also at various checkpoints. So if you say you are moving, mind you, you face barricades, checkpoints at different locations strategically. So for your own good, if you know that you are not in that category of essential movement, please don't attempt it. And the strong emphasis on this one is not just the enforcement of the face mask, but the proper, that's word, proper enforcement or proper use of face mask. Some people are just too negligent, people are just too careless, that no sooner they are in possession of the face mask, that's all. That is not all. Proper use of the face mask. And we shall be, and we've started that one, talking to the public, because we have the soft policing method and the hard policing method. For us, the security sector, we believe in the soft policing strategy. What that means, we talk to the public, we educate the public, we communicate to the public. We've been using the traditional media and also the social media.
Last week, consumers were taken aback when water producers increased the price of sachet water without the approval of the Regulatory Commission. The sudden increase in the price of sachet water has been a serious concern for traders as well as consumers in the Freetown municipality. The Salon Water Regulatory Commission, with executive members of the Salon Pure Water Packeters and Bottling Organization and key government representatives, held a meeting. To know about the latest developments, the head of the Legal and Compliance, Salon Electricity and Water Regulatory Commission, Dizime Black, was on our sister program, The Podium.
Concerns, or it was brought to our attention that some producers of water are selling at 4,000, 5,000 units. But prior to that, we had got a meeting with the Salon Pure Water Organization, and they had told us that they are having issues with cost of materials for production, and therefore they want to increase the price. Also, wages or salaries have also increased. So we told them that they should do a proposal and come to us. Then we, because we are mandated that we should determine rates, and then approve it. They are not supposed to wake up one morning and start inflating prices. So going back on that, we told them that let them do a proposal and come back to us. To our notice now, we found out that they've increased the prices. So that was what brought up the meeting on 20th of January. We had representatives from Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Trade, and they told them to give them 2 weeks so that they can engage these importers and manufacturers of these raw materials so that they can see how they can stabilize the price. So until that is done, the price for a sachet of water, bundle sachet water, should remain at 3,500 units.
Okay, now it's your mandate to go out to inspect, because the last time you did that.
Yes.
So now that there are some those who sell the water, who will obviously have to go to sell beyond 3,500, what will be the outcome?
We know definitely that there are people, there are still companies or factories that are still selling at 4,500, and they are going against the law. So I want to take this opportunity to send a strong message to them that whosoever we find wanting, going against the law, not complying, we will enforce the law against them and fine them, which is 50 million euros, or we charge them to court on arrest.
Okay, it states here that it's as a reason of the disparity between the production company. That's why some are going above 3,500.
Yes, that is true, but they have to give us time to look into it. That's why we've involved other stakeholders like the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Trade. They are all aware of this situation. So we told them to give us at least 2 weeks to 3 weeks. Even the Ministry of Trade, they gave their word that they will come back to them and see how they can alleviate the situation.
So if I go to buy a sachet of water for instance, and somebody sells at 5,000, so should I complain?
Yes,
to
you can report to us.
How can I do that also? Anybody?
We have our office at 55 Barrick Street, and also I will have said I'll give the number of the office here, but I don't have it offhand. But I will make that available to you.
Okay, what will be the next step at the end of the day? Because this is disparity in figures, in numbers, those who produce the water. If it remains to be so, should we expect an increase in the price of such a water, which you would have to agree on?
Well, yes, they will have to drill into the figures, like look at the cost of service, of production, before making that decision and say, okay, this price will have to remain at 3.5, or it will have to increase. It will have to have an increase. But until that is done, no one should sell be above 3,500 euros. If we are to make a change or an increase, we will communicate that to the public.
Okay, key government institution in all of this is the Ministry of Trade, which you've made mention. So, yes. in moving forward, what's the collaboration between the Commission and the Ministry of Trade in tackling this water issue?
Well, in terms of that, we are working together in harmonization, because we don't want to put any business, any factory or company out of business. So we are working with them closely, and to ensure that they, as they said, they will engage the manufacturers and the importers of these these raw materials that they use for production. There has to be a process. Things have to be done properly. First of all, they are supposed to come with a proposal. Let's see, they haven't done that up to now. Even after the meeting, we told them, come with your proposal, and let's drill into the cost and see how we can work together to ensure this price control. But they haven't done anything like that. If we see that there are legitimate concerns, and if we look into them and we see that there is a need for an increase so that they will not go at a loss at the business, we will definitely do it. But we also have a responsibility to protect the consumers. We have to protect the interest of consumers.
That was the head of Legal and Compliance, Union Electricity Water Regulatory Commission, Dizime Black. The Minister of Information and Communications, Mohamed Rahman Soare, has launched the fiber blowing phase of the National Fiber Backbone Phase 2 project in Mano Junction, Kailong segment in Kailong District. The Phase 2 project, which is expected to be completed in 18 months' time, is being funded by the Chinese government with a $30 million loan with 1% interest to provide sustainable digital technology in the country. Our Ministry of Information and Communications reporter, Arana Particuma, reports.
In his manifesto, President Bio promised to make ICT accessible to Sierra Leoneans. The $30 million project contracted to Huawei Technologies is to complete the Phase 2 of the fiber backbone connection in all the 14 districts. The fiber backbone installation, if completed, will help generate revenue for the country. The blowing of the Kailong segment is a manifestation of government commitment to connect the entire country. The paramount chief, Jawi Chiefdom, PC Musa Kalon II, said as a chiefdom they are pleased with the project as it manifests the promise of the president to them during his campaign. Youth leader Mano Junction Simon Momo said the project has changed the lives of many youths in their communities. He said Kailon district being one of the most deprived districts in terms of communications, they were happy with the commencement of the fiber blowing phase 2 in their districts. Permanent Secretary Minister of Information and Communications Kwame Yankson said the president's promise to join Sierra Leone among the global village. Giving an overview of the project, the Acting Director, Ministry of Information and Communications, Mohamed Jallo, said the country is catching up with the fourth industrial revolution through fiber connectivity. He said the blowing of the cable is to enhance connectivity of fiber technology in Kailon district for them to enjoy the 4G network system. Chairman Salkab Sori Fofana commended Huawei Technologies for working hard in actualizing the wish of the president in making Sierra Leone a digital connected country. He said upon conclusion of the project, they are going to ensure all mobile network operators are connected to the fiber for better communication and internet service in the district. The project director, Huawei Technologies Sierra Leone, Ato Andama, commended the communities for supporting the implementation of the project. He said as the leading ICT in the world, they are going to ensure the country gets its best in the fiber connectivity, as the idea of the project is to create a global village. He said with fiber connectivity in the country, the government will revolutionize other areas through technology.
This fiber blowing is actually a very, very important one, because that's where we get to introduce the main aspect of this project, which is the installation of the fiber optic cable. This cable looks small, but trust me, it's a very, very, very delicate cable, and it does a lot of things. People underestimate it. They feel that we are just installing cables over there, and they tend to undermine the importance of it. But actually what this one is doing is that it's actually supposed to be like a highway upon which we are going to traverse all digital signals from one point to another.
Launching the blowing of the fiber backbone phase 2 project, the Minister of Information and Communications, Mohamed Rahman Swari, said President Bio believes in investing in infrastructure through technology. The broadband technology, is stated, will help the government increase its GDP, create more jobs for the youths, and ensure that business and jobs are done faster. He said they are pleased to work with Huawei Technologies, as they are known as the best fiber connectivity company in the world.
That's very impressive so far. I mean, you listen to the testimony of the youth leader in Jawi Chiefdom. He said once Huawei got here, on our instructions, they mobilized the leadership, spoke to them, and elicited the cooperation and support of the young people who have been very supportive, without whom this work would not have come to fruition today. And they have promised the same support going forward. So I take a lot of comfort in that. That is very reassuring.
Mr. Swari noted that similar connection will be done in Moyamba, Bond, Koinadugu and Pujon districts, noting that all the councils and some of the schools and hospitals are going to be connected.
The project is beneficial in more ways than one. It is going to support broadband uptake and enhance high integrity communication across the country. Right? It's going to improve the quality of the data we use and all of that. It's going to increase the scope, the access, and in the process, even affordability.
The minister also donated COVID-19 preventive materials to the community. Other stakeholders of the district said the connection of the fiber backbone will help the country's economic growth and create more jobs for the youths. Arana Particuma, Newshour.
One of the restrictions put by NACOVAC to curb the spread of COVID-19 is the restricted movement in and out of the western area. Before the restriction, traders and workers usually moved from Lunge to Freetown to hawk their goods and walk. But with this restriction, Jonathan Turner went down to the Kisi Ferry Terminal to monitor the movement of people and goods from Potloko district to Freetown.
I got an urgent call this morning in respect of one of my relatives who has just passed away. Unfortunately, on my arrival at the ferry terminal, unfortunately I made the schedule changed. from 11:30 to 2. So it's a bit constrained for us. But on the other hand, since the government is trying to put modalities in place to contain the spread of the COVID, we are in support of them. But only that we are facing a little bit of constraints. So in this light, I'm appealing to government for them to see reason and reschedule the ferry trips to 3 trips instead of 2.
So we are asking Papa government, please, to help us. We are going strain, so we are begging Papa government to assist us. Please. Thank you.
The new law is not too much bad because of the COVID-19, so we need to obey the government. So since this morning we come to left from Freetown to Lunge, but when we come we see our colleagues explaining about the ferry, but we don't know what is the problem, but I think what said is the new law. So I asked one of my colleagues, since they have went for meeting, maybe around 2, ferry will started running. So I don't know if the meeting will go well or not. So we are waiting for the ferry now. I want the government to continue this law, so everybody to use a face mask because of this COVID-19.
This is the only cause that will lead us to get rid of the COVID. We welcome it, as our management is always prepared to work with the rules and regulations of NACOVAC. So we always try to work with them so that we put things under control. Yeah, we were just from a meeting now at port because of the new measures that came into effect today. So, you know, to discuss further, to get further clarification from Port and NACOVAC, including the Transport Ministry, as to how we can operate, because like the ferry here, the ferry operation is different from the land transportation. You see, because like for us here, we don't want people to use the ferry transport system like a hub. That is, because of the restrictions, some people will want to use, instead of using the land transportation, we want to come and use the ferry to gain access to other parts of, in the country, especially other parts, you know, at the north. The caution for we as Sierra Leoneans, we should not politicize the COVID. So we want everyone to adhere to the rules, because when we put this thing under control, it will be like thing of the past. Because this is just like a test case these 2 weeks. If everything goes under control, we knew that the government will lift the restrictions. But if cases increase, then we will get further lockdown. So for that not to happen, I really want to admonish all Sierra Leoneans, all of us, to come together and listen to what the health people advise us.
Regardless of the ban from Freetown to other parts of the country, this ferry is in full operation. It crisscrosses from Freetown to Lunge, to and fro. If it is still in operation, that means it's a violation of that policy of NACOVAC. However, lots of people moving to and fro on a daily basis for school, work, and other businesses.
Well, that was Jonathan Turner, and he is my studio guest to tell us more about the operations of the ferry moving people from Port Loko district to Freetown. Good afternoon, Jonathan, and welcome to Newshour.
Good afternoon, Daphne.
Now, tell us, from what we've seen from the highlights, the ferry is in full operation.
Yeah, not in full operation, but it's in operation.
Okay.
Because on a normal basis, it runs for 5 times a day. But due to the measures of NACOVAC, they're in agreement or arrangement to let the ferry runs 3 times a day. Because it runs 5 times from morning to from 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the evening. But due to the second wave of the COVID-19, the NACOVAC placed a ban on all traveling from Freetown to other parts of the countries and from other parts of the countries of Freetown. But because of the ban, the ferry for as of this morning move people to and fro. And during this 11 o'clock, the management of the marine vessels owners, they held a meeting with NACOVAC to ensure that they arrange the schedule for the ferries.
So as of now, before the meeting, I know the meeting would have been completed, but we don't know what will come out of the meeting. What is the exact schedule of the ferry?
8 o'clock in the morning, 2 and 5. Because before it's from 8, 11, 5, 12, 2, 5 and 8.
So were you able to talk to the authorities?
Yeah,
operating the ferry?
yeah. I spoke with the MV Maera manager. He said, as long as it's for the general good of all, they are accepting the rules and regulations. But however, he made mention about people, school pupils and workers are using the ferry to and fro on a daily basis, and there should be consideration to ensure that they move people, because it's very clear that Potoloko, Lunge is in Potoloko district, and so if we go through by the rules, the ferry should not be working. But however, there must be consideration to ensure that people, workers, pupils and other business management move from the Freetown to Lunge, because it creates economy for the people, livelihood and other things.
Now let's talk about the restrictions, because it is because of the restrictions that the ferry is being operating in that manner. Tell us, is people actually adhering to the COVID-19 measures?
Yeah, in terms of the face masks, the wearing of face masks, the wear and the social distancing, because by the time we are in the ferry, it was not in operation, it was packed, due because it had already landed from the 8 o'clock on. But for the social distancing, I cannot tell on that because it was not on board. But for the wearing of face masks, they adhere to that. The movement, because people are not, they all stay one side waiting to on board if the 2 o'clock ferry, if the NACOVAC grants them the permission to go along with their businesses. But in terms of the wearing of face masks, it was full compliance. People do. But I think NACOVAC should do more sensitization into various transport places, because some of the people that I spoke to earlier, they made mention that they didn't even know that the ferry will not move today, because that law was on from Friday or the press conference. But a lot of people that I spoke with, they didn't know about the law.
So more education.
More sensitization, education, so that people were aware about these COVID-19 restrictions.
Now let's talk about the capacity of the ferry. Now that we know it runs for 3 times a day instead of 5 times, is it that full?
According to the general manager, the MD, the airport management report, they are saying that it should be an NACOVAC that should it should be 300 per trip.
Per trip.
Yeah, but they are advocating that they should add another 50 so that their business will not run dry, because it's a win-win process. In as much
but again, they need to adhere to the COVID-19 restrictions.
Yeah, but the ferry can take up to 500 to 600, but minimum of 350, because watch another angle, it's a business purpose, and in business you have to maximize profits. In as much the COVID-19 is real, but there should be some consideration to ensure that people
were you able to talk to traders, because most times we get goods from Potoloko district using the ferry?
Yeah, they said they are frustrated, disappointed with the movement, because some of them use the money that they are generated to feed their family, pay their their children's school fees and other businesses. So if the ban is placed on this in as much for 2 weeks, but it will affect them greatly. So they are calling on government to ease especially to the schedule for accept the 3. Yeah, because another person was saying 2 per day, but they are advocating for let it be 3 instead of 5 as in a normal time. Let it be 3 times a day, because 2 is not going to hail good dividend because they have to go to and fro on a daily basis.
Remind us again the schedule of the ferry, because most people want to travel to Lungi for business or other purposes.
Yeah, the management are saying 3 times a day. That is to say, from 8 o'clock in the morning, first trip, and the second trip will be around 2 o'clock. 2, and the last one will be 8 o'clock in the evening.
8 o'clock, so 2 hours to the curfew time.
Yeah.
Well, many thanks for joining us. He is Jonathan Turner talking to us there about the restrictions of movements of people from Freetown to the provinces. It is not new for prominent Sierra-Leoneans to question the relevance of the peace and conflict studies to the present job market. The latest individual to come under the spotlight is the acting National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Sidi Yaya Tunis. As Sori Ibrahim Kamal reports, Mr. Tunis has apologized for his statements, which provoked fierce reactions from a particular civil society organization in Freetown.
What we'll continue to do is to react to some of these people and set the record straight. And we want to put a stop to it, because when they mislead the public, some people, they are left with little options to research on their own rather than listening to television or radio or other means of information. And whatever they get from some of these stakeholders, they consider it as the gospel truth.
Nobody needs peace and conflict graduates is the statement made by the acting National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Sidi Yaya Tunis, on AYV on Sunday TV program, which has provoked reaction from the Center for Research, Peace and Youth Affairs, an emerging civil society organization.
Employers are not looking for graduates, they are looking for professionals. So unless and until we begin to address these things holistically, the issue of unemployment will remain. Nobody needs peace and conflict graduates. No. They need civil engineers. They need electrical engineers. They need nurses. They need doctors.
The CSO has described Mr. Tunis' comments as misleading, false, and demeaning to peace and conflict graduates and academics offering the discipline. However, Mr. Tunis said his remark has been taken out of context, as he and others were only discussing issues bordering on youth unemployment. The meaning of his comments, he said, was to urge universities to offer better professional courses.
Most of the time we see we produce graduates that are not employable, and that whereas the job market is demanding professionals like civil engineers, electrical engineers, you name them, we are still producing the traditional BSc general, BA generals, and I made reference to civil, to peace and conflict, thinking that the number of graduates we produce in these areas, we do not have the job market for them, and that is contributing also. That is not helping our unemployment figures, and that is the context I made the statement.
However, the Center for Research, Peace and Youth Affairs was not impressed. Its executive director, who himself a peace and conflict graduate,
The chairperson of the African Union Commission has described Sierra Leone as a stable country amidst the challenges the country has gone through. Musa Faki Mohammed made this commendation during a courtesy call on President Julius Maada Bio at State House. Our State House correspondent, Mosi, has the details.
The visit, according to the African Union chairperson, was to share the ideas of the African Union with the president and to also commend the government for its strides in the fight against COVID-19. The ideas of the African Union are to promote unity and solidarity among African states, coordinate and intensify their operation and efforts to achieve a better life for the peoples of Africa and to defend their sovereignty, their territorial integrity and independence. This has been the goal to visit member states, but it was somehow deferred due to COVID-19 outbreak. His office is very committed to the African agenda, the reason he has commenced such visits to exchange ideas with the different heads of state and commend the resilience of the people of Sierra Leone for facing difficult challenges, especially the coronavirus pandemic. Musa Faki Mahama commended President Bio for his stringent measures in the fight against COVID-19.
I think Sierra Leone now is a stable country. I think a few years ago, people maybe didn't believe that after this terrible situation, that the situation will improve. Your Excellency, Africa is facing a very, very difficult time. And we need leadership. You and your colleagues trusted me. Thank you for your support, Your Excellency.
Plans are now underway for meeting other leaders in Africa and discuss with them the COVID-19 vaccines distribution among member states. According to the chairperson, over 200 million vaccines have been provided for African countries. The chairperson of the African Union also informed the president about various developmental projects that are ongoing in Africa.
I think it's a privilege, but also it's a responsibility. We launched a very important project to realize this integration of the continent, the FCFTA, for example. We are facing this terrible pandemic. Its socio-economic consequences are terrible. And about this pandemic, I can say all of you, head of state, shown a leadership.
President Julius Maada Bio commended the chairperson for the visit, adding that Africa is faced with difficult circumstances, but that the African Union president has done a great job. President Bio said there is a sign of hope in the continent, especially in the case of Sierra Leone, from war, Ebola mudslide, and coronavirus pandemic. His government is working very hard to consolidate peace across the country. The reason his government is also putting strategy in place for the establishment of a peace commission.
The war was particularly difficult, but we did a lot, and with the help of the ECOWAS, the African Union, and the international community, we are able to come to a peaceful settlement. And we have moved on ever since. And we have not only moved on, to date we are still working on how we can consolidate that peace. So very soon we'll be having National Cohesion and Peace Commission, which is going to come into force. We are all concerned about peace in Sierra Leone. We have put together this particular commission to pay keen attention to fundamental grievances that can easily evolve and lead to serious conflagration within our country.
President Bio told the African Union delegation about the various transformations his government has done, ranging from the judiciary, fiscal policies, and other laws.
My government took the human capital development as the main thrust of our development. And here we have defined that to mean education, quality education for all, good and affordable healthcare for all, and food security. Of course, all the other 17 SDGs are important, but we think that this has a multiplier effect and lays the foundation for achieving the others. So we are paying attention to all, and of course the African Union agenda for 2063. We believe that if we can make progress on these, we can better the lives of our people, secure peace, and make progress.
The chairperson of the African Union Commission is the Chief Executive Officer, legal representative of the AU, and the Commission's Chief Accounting Officer. The chairperson of the Commission is elected by the Assembly for a 4-year term, renewable once. His functions include the overall responsibility for the Commission's administration and finances, promoting and popularizing the AU's objectives and enhancing its performance. SABC TV News are in Freetown. Hamasura reporting.
Now let's take some news around the African continent. The office complex of Botswana President will close for 2 days starting on Monday to allow for disinfection and testing of staff for COVID-19. President Mokwatsi Masisi and the First Lady were tested for COVID-19 last week and their results came out negative. Government spokesperson Andrew Sisin-Iyi said the tests were conducted after several positive cases in the President's office and a week's closure will not affect service delivery as staff will work from home. The government had in the past imposed a hard lockdown to prevent the spread of the virus and later announced a curfew. Former Ghana's President Jerry Rawlings will lay in state from Monday in the capital, Accra, although strict COVID-19 protocols will be in place for people who want to pay their respects. Rawlings, who was Ghana's longest-serving leader, died in November, aged 73, after a short illness. Funeral events officially started on Sunday with a church service and vigil in the capital. Rawlings will be buried on Wednesday, with a number of present and former heads of state in attendance. The funeral was supposed to have happened in November, but was postponed following disagreements among Ghana's political leaders. He led a military government in Ghana for more than a decade after staging 2 military coups in 1979 and 1981, but returned the country to multi-party democracy in 1992. A Ugandan court has ordered the military and police to leave the home of opposition politician Bobi Wine. He has not left his house in the outskirts of the capital, Kampala, since voting in the presidential election 11 days ago, in which he was declared runner-up to President Uhuru Museveni. Monday's ruling by the High Court in Kampala comes after a petition by Bobi Wine's lawyers. The state argued it needed to prevent him organizing protests. But the High Court has now ruled that Bobi Wine's detention was unlawful, with Justice Michael Elubu telling the court it was also an infringement on his personal liberties. Well, that's all for news around the African continent, and now let's go for entertainment and sports news.
Hello and welcome to Entertainment News. I am Sulaiman Baba Toure. Well, in today's news, we are going to talk about the saga between fans of Drizzly and Caldenero. Well, it all started when Caldenero posted on his Facebook page, and I quote, "Sometimes the one paving the way or opening the door won't be credited, just like Moses was. But it's okay by me, as long as my brothers and sisters are nominated on international awards. Mission accomplished. Just don't forget who got their attention." So those who think Caldenero was referring to the nomination of Drizzly started posting thousands of replies, as Richie Obama, one of Venezuela's finest comedians, posted. The energy where Caldenero gets overhit in not small. Not allow him do you good. It is Fenway Tokama, and Chris Weasel also posted. Emerson, that Salomon we get that dirty black badat where you be the sing but we don't see him. A name na Caldinero. Congrats, Drizzly. And this is just few of those thinking that Caldinero was actually beefing Drizzly for his Listener's Choice nomination. But again, Caldinero posted hours later. Okay, since everyone wants to make it like I'm hating on Drizzly, Lord, was it hate when I dropped him a verse on his song Pope at the time when every song I jumped on gets reactors on YouTube to react? Just so you know, I did that for free. I didn't see no one asking the young brother why no video dropped to support my just concluded event when everyone else in the industry did. I'm used to the bad name now. I'm Sierra Leone's #1 bad guy. Una talk bo, now una get smart. But why would Caldinero beef Drizzly when he was the first to be nominated for the Listener's Choice Award? However, some people think that others are getting it wrong, as Terie Kuruma posted. We are missing it to think Caldinero is throwing shades as the king. 20 years in the music business of doing just the best is quite a period to be recognized on the global stage. And blah blah blah. An interesting post by G Milan listed most of the people that Caldinero has had issues with starting from 2003 to 2021. Few of them are Kao versus Yok 7, Kao versus Zainab Sharif, and now Kao versus Drizzly. And amid the bashing on social media, Caldinero Last King posted that, "Let me go to bed while they keep debating. Good night." With this photo of him holding lots of money, like he doesn't give a damn about what people think of him. Wow. Until now, we've not seen any replies from Drizzly, as expected by some fans. Still on the nomination of Sierra Leonean musicians on international awards, we want to say congratulations to Tero D and Star Z, aka the Queen Kong, on their multiple nominations on the Global Music Awards Africa. So now we see how our musicians are rocking the international arena. All we as patriotic fans and supporters need to do is to vote and keep voting. Go to the Facebook vote and share the link so that others will vote and bring those awards home. And now to those sharing videos on the death of Sarkodie. It has been debunked by Success Music, the record label of Sarkodie, that he's still alive and healthy. Well, that's all we have for entertainment news. I am Suleiman Baba Toure.
Well, now let's join the sports desk for more on sports news.
Hello, it's Sports Updates on the news with me, Francis Pallard. In this edition, Head of Media and Communications at the Western Area Football Association, David Turner, has said that WAFA has postponed all competitions that were scheduled for the 24th of January this year. As Mohamed Lamin reports, the competition should have hosted over 100 clubs ranging from Division 1, 2 and under 15.
The deferring of the said competition came as a surprise, as many had patiently waited for the league to commence following the lifting of ban on sporting activities. Head of Media and Communications, Western Area Football Association, David Turner, disclosed that the league will have kicked off when the ban on playing football behind closed doors is lifted. The spokesman for WAFA disclosed that the decision was taken due to the huge economic implications clubs were likely to face playing under such restriction.
So this is what we are asking. We are asking government to give us at least 50% of spectators to come to watch the competition with COVID-19 prevention areas like face masks, like hand washing facilities, testing of players and the likes. We'll take those measures for the players to come and play the competition. Also, if governments do not want us to play with supporters, we call upon them to help us with financial support so we can pay for the running of the game, we can pay for security, we can pay for referees, we can pay for the maintenance of the venues, the media advertisements and the likes. But it is very, very difficult as a region to organize those competitions, Division 1, Division 2, under 15, without funding.
The competition, which many football-loving fans believe will have served as a breeding ground to spot young talents that will transform football in the future. It could be recalled that the association had begun arbitrating players for the under-15 category for various clubs. The question is when NACOVAC will lift the ban, as spike in number of cases has been reported recently. For SABC TV, Mohamed Lamintu reporting.
And in the international scene, Manchester United have eliminated Liverpool out of the Emirates FA Cup in the 4th round of the competition. Bruno Fernandes' superb 78-minute free kick gave Manchester United victory in a thrilling FA Cup tie with old rivals Liverpool at Old Trafford. Liverpool led a fantastic contest through Mohamed Salah, who then equalized after Mason Greenwood and Marcus Rashford had struck for the host in each half. But the search for form goes on for Liverpool, whose only win in 7 games since that 7-goal hammering of Crystal Palace came against Aston Villa. Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of Sports Update on the News. I am Frances Banner. Thanks for watching and keep watching the SLBC.
Thanks to Frances Bernard for Sports Update. To end the news, a recap of the main points. Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Musa Faki Mohammed, has paid a courtesy call on President Julius Maada Bio at State House. Local authorities of Mumende Chiefdom, Karina District, have called on their compatriots to dissociate themselves from any form of violence. And Sierra Leone police have talked about their role during NACOVAC's 2-week restriction to curtail the spread of COVID-19. Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of Newshour, coming to you live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. My name is Daphne Kimamakole. Do continue to stay with us if you can.